Hello chess friends and welcome to Azarov's chess channel and welcome to my Basics in Chess series. Today I wanted to do some opening rules, so the rules in opening when you're playing. So I did already this middle game strategies with targeting your opponent weaknesses and some attacking play and some endgame strategies. But you see, today I wanted to do some openings. You see, you don't have to learn all this complex opening lines for you. You simply have to follow some rules, and you can play any opening you like. So let's see now some main principles in the opening. So there are basically three stages in an opening. You have to develop your knights and bishops. You have to castle and somehow move the queen and connect your rooks. What you don't want to do is play maybe with the same piece twice, and you don't want to get out with your queen so early. So I wanted to show you maybe a healthy opening, which I would like to say this expression healthy. Maybe here this sort of Dragon Sicilian with the Yugoslav attack. I think it's often played, so we have e4 c5 here, and it's perfectly fine here because you see now you have good square for your knight, and as now d4, c takes d4, knight takes on d4, d6, knight on c3, we have knight on f6, bishop to c4, g6, bishop to e3, bishop to g7, f3, castling, bishop to b3, bishop to d7. You see, white made this move with the knight twice because he took on d4, but you see they're basically playing with the piece once in the opening, and now we have queen to d2, rook to c8, and castling. So you see, white here has finished his development. He has developed all of his pieces. He moved the queen from the first rank, so now it's on the second rank, and he has connected rooks. So now he has this idea of here creating maybe an attack on h4, h5, and here maybe trying here to trade the bishops on h6 and mate somehow black. Of course, black has his ideas with this nice diagonal and with the support of this rook with the semi-open file, c file, so he can play also. So let's see maybe here we have here maybe this 4-pawn attack, and here I wanted to show you a good outpost of the queen. So I said you don't want to get out with your queen very early, but sometimes you can do. You see we have now this 4-pawn attack maybe with bishop to g7, e4, d6, f4, castling, knight on f3, and now after c5, if d takes c5, now we have this very good discovered attack here, maybe here because of the pin on the king, and you see this is a good outpost. This is a good outpost of the queen. So I'm not saying you that you shouldn't sometimes, but basically don't get too early with the queen, and of course don't play with that often. Here is a good maneuver with the queen, and it has potential. So I've seen many games even the queen hasn't moved, and the player win the game because he had so much. This queen, although it's not moved from her from her starting position, the queen has its potential, and it's a huge one. Although he didn't play. I've seen really many games which the player won without moving it. So I wanted to show you this two examples of a bad queen outpost, which breaks our rules of not playing with the same piece twice, and of course not to get early with the queen out. So we have here this modern defense with bishop to g7, knight on c3, and we have here this pterodactyl opening, And what's the idea here? So black is trying here to break the center, and again with this queen a5, maybe targeting this c3. But now white takes simply, and now comes queen to a5. You see, the queen has already moved once, and the queen needs one more move to take this c5 c5 pawn. Although it's hard to defend this pawn, but you see there are two tempos with the queen, and to simply go out and take this pawn. You see, with this lack of development here, these pieces haven't played. The queen comes too early out, and you see now white plays bishop to d2. He gives extra protection of the c3. Now we have queen to c5, and now knight on d5. Now knight on f6, and you see how the queen is endangered here, because of course black would be perfectly happy here if he now trades here this knight on d5, but you have this move bishop to b4. You see there are no good squares for the queen. The queen can't go here, so it doesn't have many options. So the only square that it has is this c6. So after queen to c6, you have now bishop to b5, attacking the queen, and after taking, you have this fork on the king on the queen. So I hope you realize that it's really dangerous to get out with the queen very early in the opening. So you see the queen has played several times, and it's really not so good. You see the lack of development here by black. Basically, white needs just this knight out and get his king into safety. But of course, this is now a losing game. So I wanted to show you a game also in this Tory attack here. It was played between two Russian grandmasters, and it's really you see how this, although they are grandmasters, they also make mistakes in the opening. So we have this Tory attack with bishop to g5, now c5, e3, and now again black goes with the queen early. We have now bishop take on f6. I'm not going to analyze deep into this position, because I just want you to see how dangerous it is to get out with the queen so fast, and of course make many moves. So you see, after g takes f6, we have knight from b to d2. So white is leaving this b2 pawn, and after queen to b2, you see this is the second move of the queen. And look at this now, bishop to d3, and we have now three pieces out. We are one move from castling, and except the queen, black hasn't developed any piece. So this pawn sacrifice, well, it's a good one it's a good compensation for this lack of development by black. So it doesn't matter here now. You see this weaknesses around the king. Well, we created already this f6 weakness, and with these three pieces out, we have a nice coordination of the pieces, and we can go attack. So now comes d5, and we have now c4. You see, what white wants to do here is, after c takes d5 and e takes d5, these two pawns wouldn't be good around the king, so he wants to weaken the pawn structure. So in order to avoid that, black plays d takes c4, and now we have bishop to c4. Now the third move by the queen to a3, because there were threats here, rook to b1, and we have now castling. So you see, let's remind us these three stages. So you see, white has developed all of his pieces. He has castled, and he basically needs one move, maybe with the queen, and he has finished his development. So maybe queen to e2, or maybe queen to c2. Doesn't matter. I'm just saying he's one move away from fully development here, and you see black, he hasn't developed non-piece here. He simply played with the queen. So this is a problem now. The queen has to make many moves to go into security, and we have now bishop to g7. So we have now bishop to b5 with a check, and we have now bishop to d7. Of course, black is trying now maybe to get out with this piece after a trade of bishops. Then he can get very fast into the development. But now we have knight on c4. You see now how the queen is endangered here, and now this is the fourth move by the queen. Queen to c3. We have now rook to c1, again attacking the queen. The queen doesn't have many squares here, and it comes again a queen move. You see, queen to b4. Now we have rook to b1. You see, after, if the queen comes again to c3, then we have rook to c. Then we have rook to b3 here. Queen to b3 must be taken because there are no possibilities anymore for the queen. So in the game was played, bishop takes on b5, and now rook takes the queen on b4. And after this move, after the knight took on b5, we have a6, and we have now queen to a4, knight on c6, and after this move d5. Black resigned, because if he gets out with this knight, then we have this cover check here, and it's perfectly fine here with this queen out of the game. Black hasn't chances here anymore in this game. So I hope you realize how dangerous it is to play early with the queen. White played simply on the development here, and he secured his king, and this one pawn he didn't mind here. And I'm pointing you again out, this is a game that is played by two top grandmasters. So you see, they make also this mistakes in the opening, and I hope you realize that you should simply play this, what I like to say, this healthy chess. This healthy chess is says opening, developing, castling, move the queen, and find your squares, find your opponent weaknesses. So thanks you for watching, guys. So after this opening video, watch also my other basics in chess and this middle game strategies. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, guys. Thanks you for watching, guys. Chess is the best.